What's up, guys? Welcome to vlog number 17. I wanted to go over something really quick before we get into the actual vlog. I'm gonna switch up the vlog a little bit. It's going to be something that I've been wanting to try. I believe there's no vlogger that does poker vlogs that is doing this. It's kind of going to be something I do every couple days. I hope you guys like it. It's different than my typical vlog, but I think it's gonna be fun and kind of revolutionary. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see if you guys like it, but I'm definitely gonna try this out. Let's just say this is kind of a twist on poker vlogs, and will make you guys actually think a little bit. I'll just leave it at that. This poker vlog though is gonna be usual as far as the location, Hard Rock Poker Room. Usual as far as 2-5 no limit poker, and usual is like we're not gonna waste a lot of time. Let's get right into the episode.
Final call for 2-6, limited players, and Isabel, Mickey, Barry, John.
As you've probably seen in many of my vlogs, I like to button straddle. Some people have commented they don't like it, some have commented they do like it. But I do like to button straddle. Not every time, just every now and then. Kind of opens up the game a little bit sometimes. So I have the button straddle on in this hand, and I look down in hand number one that we're going to discuss, and I have a pretty strong hand. I have ace queen of clubs. 6 people limp, so 6 people call it $10, and it's back on me. I definitely am not going to check here and go to a flop 7-handed, so I decide to come in for a bet here of, I got to size an amount where maybe I get a call or two, but I really don't want more than that. So I put in a pretty large bet as far as what's out there right now. I bet $75, and I'm thinking I'm going to thin the field out, but under the gun calls and the cutoff both call. So we're going 3 ways to the flop, and the flop comes king, jack, 10 of clubs. We flop a royal flush. Wake up, wake up. No, that didn't happen. Just kidding, guys. The flop comes 10, 4, 3, 2 hearts. Completely missed. Not a club. We do have 2 overs, and it's on the under the gun player first. He looks at the board, looks at his chips, and puts out a bet of $125. The cutoff ends up folding, and it's on me. And I look at the board, I look at my hand a couple times, and really this is a spot where I'm going to have to play catch up, and the price he's betting really isn't worth me to try to peel one off on the turn. So I decide just to lay it down. I think it's the best play here. It's either fold or try to represent real strength and maybe re-raise them, but this early on in the session, I don't know the player's, type of play, if he's weak, if he's aggressive, if he's nitty, so I decide just to lay it down, and unfortunately we break that flop, but we will hit some other flops in this episode, hopefully.
Kidding, John, he didn't say that. That'd be funny though, maybe it is, you never know.
So in this hand, on the button again, let's straddle again, why not? So I decide to straddle to $10 as we're playing the 2-5 game, and small blind folds, big blind calls a 10, and everybody else folds. So it's a small little pot of $20. Usually when it's heads up like this, I'm not trying to get aggressive. I may make a bet, I may just check it down. It's a small pot. This player's been a little bit annoying at the table, so I may not do the usual friendly thing. So in this hand, let's see what develops. The flop comes ace, 7, 6, and I flop middle pair on a rainbow board. He ends up checking over to me, and seeing as most times you're gonna miss a flop and I flop middle pair, I'm gonna come in for a little bet of $15. The player makes the call of $15 and we're off to the turn. The turn comes and I hit a beautiful card. I would say so. The 9. So we got 2 pair now. That's a great result. The player actually leads out on this 9 and bets $30. So I'm thinking it could be one of 2 things. It could be either a flat out bluff, or it could be that he flopped the ace and slow played it, as usually heads up. If you flop an ace, you do want to check to your opponent to see if they bluff at it. And he bets 30, and at this point I'm thinking I'm gonna underrep my hand and I'm just gonna make a smooth call, not try to get crazy. I can't reveal the strength of my hand just by calling, so I make the call of $30 instead of putting in a raise. The river comes and it's basically a blank. It's a 2 of diamonds. He leads out again now for $55, and now I go into the tank a little bit and I start to think, what hands could this guy have had? It's hard to know the strength of his hand pre-flop, as he just called a $10 straddle, but I need to kind of figure out where I'm at. I'm thinking he does have an ace at this point, as he led turn and river, and I've got 2 pair, 7, 9. So I'm gonna come in for a raise here. I'm gonna put in a raise where it's believable, my raise, and I can definitely get called by an ace. So I don't want to size it too big. So I make it $150 to go. And he thinks about it for a long time. He only needs to call basically 95 more, and he ends up making the fold. He claimed later he had an ace. It's possible. I think this player would have called though if he had an ace. So I don't know. I guess, you know, poker players lie. So, but I'm happy to take down the pot as a turn 2 pair and river raise. It doesn't get called, but we got him to bet turn and river. So good result there. This next hand, we have ace-9 offsuit in the small blind. The player in the hijack comes in for a bet of $20 pre-flop, and the cutoff, the button, call, and then it's on me. Now, in this hand, there are times I will 3-bet because I'm going to be out of position this hand, but I think I'm getting the right pot odds to call, as I'm pretty sure the big blind's going to call, as he's been pretty aggressive, which would mean we'd go 5 ways to a flop. So instead of coming in for a 3-bet, I decide to just call the 15 to complete to $20. And just as I suspected, the big blind calls as well. So we're going 5 ways to a flop. The flop comes Jack, 9, 5, rainbow. We're first to act. We flop middle pair, top kicker. We're first to act, out of position. That's one of the disadvantages of this hand. So I'm definitely going to check to see what develops. And the big blind checks, and it checks to the hijack. And the hijack was the original better pre-flop, and he comes in for a bet of $50. He could be doing this with any range of hands. He could have 2 overs. He could have flopped the jack. But he definitely could have air and just be c-betting here. So it goes to the button, who folds. Then it's on me. For this price, I think I'm considering a call. I'm not going to re-raise him here because he could have a pair in his hand. He could have technically have queens or have a jack or have something of that nature, but he easily could be having cards like ace king, ace queen. So I think I'm going to peel one off and just call the $50 bet, as I do have mid pair and they may be good sometimes, and see what the turn develops. To my surprise, the big blind also calls, so at this point I need to have a little bit more consideration that maybe the big blind also could have the jack, but we'll see what happens on the turn. I want to tell you guys something, it's very important. The player in the hijack who opened this hand pre-flop, he has been religiously c-betting, so this is one of the main reasons I actually did call on the flop with mid pair. So the turn, here we go. Turn brings the 8 of hearts. This puts out some straight draws on the board. Again, I'm first to act. I want to kind of pot control. I don't want to inflate this pot. I may be good, I may not be good. I check. The big blind also checks, and now the hijack decides to check back as well. So now I'm not thinking that he's that strong at this point, because if he had any really strong holding, he definitely, not definitely, because I guess it's a scare card on the turn, but I think he would put out another feeler bet based on this player type. But he checks back. The river comes, and it's a pretty great card for us. It brings the ace. Now we've hit 2 pair. We have the ace and the 9, and we're first to act. This card could be great for us, seeing as if the player did have 2 overcards, now he's hit top pair, and we've kind of under-repped our hand if we check. So I'm going to check here and try to see what the big blind or the hijack does. So I decide to check it. The big blind also checks, and our plan worked. The hijack bets $110. $110. It's back on me. What could he have here? It's all I'm thinking. I'm thinking he probably does have the ace. And if he doesn't, it's a bluff card for him to bluff at, because we both check river and look weak. So I'm 90% sure that I'm ahead here, and I'm definitely going to come in for a re-raise. I want to size it an amount where it looks strong, but it could look, I guess, kind of bluffy. Not really. I guess the sizing is probably just about right. I end up betting $300. The big blind quickly folds, and the hijack tanks. When I say tanks, he tanks a long time. It gets to the point where I usually don't call floor on people, but it had been about 5-6 minutes, and this pot was not that large, or his whole stack wasn't at risk. You know, he had $1,000 in front of him, and he only had to call 200 more. And unfortunately, you know, a lot of players were actually saying that it was about time. So I called floor, and the time ran out, and he just mucked his hand, and we scooped it. So I don't think he was acting. He either had an ace, or it's possible I could have got him to fold better. I don't know. I mean, he really tanked for a long time, guys. But great result. We win that hand as well, and on to the next hand, winning that pot. This hand, we pick up the old ace queen again, offsuit this time. We got this hand a couple times throughout the night. I want to say 4 or 5, and this time we pick it up in middle position. So the under the gun player comes in for a bet of $20, and a player in middle position calls a 20. I'm in middle position, and at this point, when players open under the gun, they're usually pretty strong. It's not often that a player under the gun is going to, you know, come in for open unless they're pretty strong. Not always, but typically. So I think I'm just going to decide to just smooth call this hand. And the player next to act also calls a 20, and everyone else folds, and we're going to a flop. It's four-handed, and the flop comes 7, 5, 2, 2 hearts. We miss. That's okay. Let's see what happens. The original raiser, who's under the gun, checks. The player in middle position checks, and it's on me. There's merit to betting here, as it's been checked to me and I only have one more player behind, and I do have 2 overs. But I'm happy to see a free card, and I decide to check as well. The player next to act right behind me also checks, so we're gonna get to see that free card. So the comes on the turn, a decent card for my range, the queen. So now there's a queen on the turn, and this also brings a flush draw. So that queen on the turn is a queen of clubs, and it brings 2 flush draws on the board. Hearts and clubs are now both on the board, and the under the gun player leads out for $60. The player next to act folds, and it's on us. On this board texture, he could definitely have a flush draw. He could have hit his queen, which would actually be great for us as we have the ace kicker. And he could also be just throwing out a bet as a high card came and just trying to, take down the pot right then and there. I'm pretty sure I'm ahead. I have top pair, top kicker. The flop, everyone showed a weakness. So I'm going to put in a raise here, and I size it small, going for thin value. Not thin value, obviously, like I should be ahead, but like I size it an amount where if he has any sort of draw, he's calling for sure. And I make it 130, so slightly more than double. Player next to act folds, the under the gun player calls, and the middle position player folds. So now it's just us and the under the gun player who raised pre-flop, and we're going to a river, and the river brings the 7 of diamonds. None of the flushes get there. Now we have 2 pair with the ace kicker, and he comes out and leads out for a bet. He thought about this bet very short amount of time, and he just puts it out. He just makes it 165 on the river, and it was a pretty non-thinking bet. It was like the 7 of diamonds hit, and he just put the bet out there really quick. And he has 300 more behind, and it's on me. I'm eyeing his stack. I'm thinking if he had raised pre-flop and would have smashed a 7 on the flop for top pair, there's really not the type of hand that you would be checking when you raise and you have a 7 in your hand and you flop top pair. So it looks very bluffy, the fact that he would bet now instantly when he hit another 7. If he has a queen, he could also do this bet, as it would kind of be a safe card. And really it just looks like a missed flush draw. I just put him all in. I just say all in, I have him covered. He has 300 more. He snap folds, so apparently he had air or missed a flush draw, and we're happy with that result. With that hand, that was one of the last hands of the night. We ran pretty good, didn't have any like monster pairs or like aces or kings or anything like that, but the ebb and flow of the night was pretty good. The table was good, got paid on hands, hit a lot of rivers in this session, and we end up booking a profit of $685. So we're going to add that to the Bankroll challenge now, as that number keeps going down. Hopefully it continues. Let's look at the Bankroll challenge now. As usual, thanks guys for watching the vlog. Remember to leave your comments down below to discuss any of the hands, how you would have played them, if you liked how I played them, if you think I played them terrible, if I played them alright, whatever you guys want to comment down below. You know the drill. I always reply to all the comments. I've maybe missed one, and I'm sorry to that person if I did, but 99.9% of the comments, I'm replying. As always, like and subscribe, My channel grows because of you guys. We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers. Not that close, but we're in the 700s, and thinking of doing some sort of giveaway or raffle. Maybe you guys can give me ideas of something I can do. I have no idea as to what to do. Maybe I'll use our old friend Google to think of an idea of a giveaway, but yeah, if you guys want to let me know down below, definitely that will be a good thing, so I can start to get an idea. And as always, thanks for watching, and be on the lookout for a video coming soon to a YouTube near you. Peace out.